I think what's happening in the NFL is because of all the rules changes favoring the quarterback. Elite quarterbacks, not just any quarterback, but elite quarterbacks who really make a difference have the kind of leverage now because they have such an effect on the fortunes of a franchise that NBA stars have. They've never had it until this point, but I think they do now. Brady just showed it. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson's starting to make some noise. Guys who can really affect the fortunes of the team. It's going to be hard to keep them if they don't want to stay. And considering Adam Schefter last week said 18 is the over-under. 18 for teams with new quarterbacks, and he'd take the over? It's hard to, the musical chairs has just barely begun. And I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be left without a seat.
I don't trust the Houston Texans. I think there's reason for worry because I think that Deshaun Watson's strong desire to get the hell out of the organization transcends what's transpiring on the football field. I think it's a locker room issue. I think it's a culture issue. I think it's a culture issue that descends from upstairs. And as a result, he doesn't want anything to do with this organization any longer. He's had multiple reasons. He could have complained about Bill O'Brien. He could have complained about Romeo Crennel. He could have complained about DeAndre Hopkins. He could have complained about a lot of different things that may have transpired that he did not like. But the timing of this speaks volumes. And yeah, you could say that the last straw was DeAndre Hopkins and him finding out about it, but not from the organization, at least immediately upon DeAndre Hopkins being traded. You can bring up all of those things. But the reality is that the way he is acting and how dark and silent he has gone, I think it speaks to something that has transpired between him and the organization, how he has been treated. And I think that when you talk about the coaching search and things of that nature, hiring a black coach who's 65 years of age, been in the league for 27 years, and David Culley, who clearly wasn't the number one candidate for the job, but all of a sudden you bring him on board, clearly in an effort to appease Deshaun Watson. I think it speaks to something greater than just football that's going on within that organization. And that's why Deshaun Watson wants out. And to me, any organization that will cause those kind of problems, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they're truculent and defiant enough to say, to hell with what you want. We run this show and we're not going to capitulate to your demands. I think that's entirely plausible. I don't think it'll last, but I definitely think that's the position that they're taking right now.
Guys, I'm not worried about Deshaun Watson as far as it relates to the Houston Texans, because I look at the Houston Texans and a lot of these sports franchises, they care about the PR noise, the PR battle. And when you look at the Houston Texans over the last several months, they've just been getting battered and abused as far as the PR is concerned from the whole Jack Easterby, his ascension to power and all the power struggles within the organization from key personnel. And I'm not even talking about guys on the field. I'm talking about support staff, people that worked with that organization for a long time, that are highly thought of, that have left that organization. And so when you look at the two sides, you have an organization that's in disarray, and then you have Deshaun Watson, who's been the model of consistency, not only on the field with his play and being a top 5 quarterback, but all the philanthropic things that he does off the field. I mean, there is not a character blemish as it relates to Deshaun Watson. So if you're the Houston Texans, do you really want to force this man's hand? Because let this be clear. He is adamant about getting out of this organization. Do you want to force this man's hand to the point where he would literally sit out a year? How is that helping the Houston Texans move on? Because Deshaun, it's one of two things. Either Deshaun Watson is going to get traded, or Deshaun Watson, just being the person that we know him to be, would sit out. He would sit out because this is a dude that has principles. He would sit out a whole year rather than go play for the Houston Texans.
Real quick, Stephen A., and then I'll throw it to you to close it out. Let me just say, I think what the Texans are doing right now is it's a little bit of a James Harden situation we saw with the Rockets. But I think what the Texans are doing is Deshaun goes public. Hey, I want out. Now teams aren't going to make their best offer because he's got to be traded. So the Texans are sitting there. Stafford is 2 firsts and a third with Goff. We want 3 firsts at least for Deshaun, and I think what they're doing now is posturing so that they'll get the best offer from other teams, Stephen A.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I would also tell you, facetiously speaking, because I like Fertitta in Houston with the Rockets, and I appreciate the fact that he hired Steven Silas. But I would say, you know what, you the city of Houston, you H-Town. You're in a state with no state income taxes. I mean, my Lord. And the 2 biggest stars who happen to be black don't want to be there. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.